Elshinnawy, welcoming you to our last lecture. We have reached our last lecture, lecture number 14. Hope you are doing well in my course. You are enjoying studying it, you find it easy. And please, if you have, as I said before many times, if you have any difficulty, please send to either to my mail, of course you know it, or you can contact me during my office hours, which are on Saturday and also on Sunday, starting from 7 till 8:30 in the evening. All the best to all of you, and let's see our 14th lecture. What does it have? And in this lecture, actually, I collected some of the points that we discussed throughout the first 13 lectures that we have. But this does not mean that only these points are the important or the most important one. No, you need to go through all the materials. This lecture is only for reminding you of some of the things, but it does not mean that you depend mainly on this lecture and that's all. No, please do not do this, because if you do this, this means that you are going to lose a lot. Okay, so do not depend mainly on this lecture for just knowing everything about the course. This is like a final revision. Final revision means just reminding you of the important things that we went throughout the course, right? But again, I'm emphasizing and I'm asserting that this is not the end. This is not the I mean the main goal of the whole course, that you this lecture is enough for you to read and study and that's all. No, please go through all the lectures that we already covered before. So if you still remember, we started our course with an introduction about modern drama, and we said that after the death of Shakespeare and his contemporaries, drama in England suffered a decline for 2 centuries. Even Congreve in the 17th and Sheridan and Goldsmith in the 18th could not restore drama to the position it held during the Elizabethan age. It was revived, however, in the last decade of the 19th century, and then there appeared dramatists who have now given it a respectable place in English literature. And we move to something which is that the 2 important factors were responsible for the revival of the drama in 1819s. One was the influence of Ibsen, our great dramatist that we studied for him, of course, the Adol's House. So he had a great influence on modern drama. One of the influence of Ibsen, the great Norwegian dramatist, under which the English dramatists like Bernard Shaw claimed the right to discuss serious social and moral problems in a calm, sensible way. The second was the cynical atmosphere prevailing at that time, which allowed men like Oscar Wilde to treat the moral assumptions of the Victorian age with frivolity and make polite fun of their conventionality, prudishness, or smugness. The first factor gave rise to the comedy of ideas or purpose, while the second revived the comedy of manners or the artificial comedy. Under the influence of Ibsen, the serious drama in England from 1890 onward ceased to deal with themes remote in time and place. He had taught men that the real drama must deal with human emotions, and this is what he tried to emphasize all the time. It is not a matter of just dealing with themes and that's all. No, we have to deal with some of the themes which are very close to human emotions, with things which are near and dear to ordinary men and women. And also this is important because he believed that the drama should deal with all these themes that are close to ordinary men, because this the majority, ordinary people, the middle class people, is the majority in any society, not only confining and restricting ourselves to the only those people and the first class people, and leaving the majority of the people. So the new dramatists thus gave up the melodramatic romanticism and pseudo-classical remoteness of their predecessors, and began to treat in their plays the actual English life, first of the aristocratic class, then of the middle class, and finally of the laboring class. The two important dramatists who took a predominant part in the revival of drama in the last decade of the 19th century were George Bernard Shaw and Oscar Wilde. Both Irishmen. Shaw was the greatest practitioner of the comedy of ideas, while Wilde that of the new comedy of manners. Then we got to know something about Henrik Ibsen himself, who was born in 1828 and died in 1906. And we said that Henrik Ibsen is considered as the father of modern realistic drama. This does not mean that he started his dramatic career by a representation of real life problems. He underwent certain developments, beginning with experimental plays that were indebted to the French well-made play of Scribe and to romantic and traditional patterns. This is clear in Lady Anger of Straight Love's comedy, The Pretenders, all this to Bernard Shaw. The greatest among the modern dramatists was, of course, George Bernard Shaw. He was born and brought up in Ireland, but at the age of 20 in 1876 he left Ireland for good and went to London to make his fortune. At first he tried his hand at the novel, but he did not give any encouragement. Of course, you need to know that Shaw started as a novelist. He tried to write a novel at the very beginning, but no one encouraged him in that trend. So he turned to write plays or to write drama. At first he tried his hand at the novel, but he did not get any encouragement. Then he began to take part in debates of all sorts and made his name as the greatest debater in England. Another dramatist who took an important part in the revival of drama in the later part of the 19th century, of course, was Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde also one of the most prominent figures in modern drama, and you need to know that he was born in 1856 and he died in 1900, and it was only during the last 5 years of his life that he turned his attention to writing for the stage. So only the last 5 years of his life he turned his attention to writing for the stage. During his lifetime his plays became very popular. People liked his plays during his lifetime, and they were thought to represent a high mark in English drama. But their importance was exaggerated because they are merely the work of a skilled craftsman. It was mainly on account of their style, graceful, polished, and full of wit, that they appealed to the audience. High tragedy about ordinary people and everyday prose. Ibsen's contribution to the theater, says a critic, was threefold, and each respect the drama owes more to him than to any other dramatist since Shakespeare. Firstly, he broke down the social barriers which had previously bound it. He was the first man to show that high tragedy could be written about ordinary people and in ordinary everyday prose. Of course, these lines are very important because you need to know that Ibsen contributed to the theater by doing this. If you read any of the plays of William Shakespeare, you find that his plays are confined and are limited only to those first-class people, like kings, like princes and princesses, generals, army generals, and all these people, like King Lear, like Hamlet, like Macbeth. All these plays, you find that they are about the first-class people. But with Ibsen, he felt that this is not something good, that we need to move tragedy to be written about ordinary people, as I said, because this is the people that we meet, this is the people that we talk to, this is the people that have many problems more than the first-class people. So he was, as you said, that he was the first man to show that high tragedy could be written about ordinary people and in ordinary everyday prose. And this is also another contribution to him, that when you read any of the plays of Shakespeare, you will find that the language is a little bit difficult because it is written in verse and not written in prose. You feel that you are reading like poetry. But here in the tragedy of Ibsen, you feel that it's the language that you read as we read together the play. It's very simple to understand. You feel that this is the language that we are using in our daily life, not some difficult words, not some as if you have poetry and not you have a talk, a daily talk between the people. So he could, he said that tragedy could be written about ordinary people and in ordinary everyday prose. Before Ibsen, tragedy had concerned itself with kings, as we said, and the queens, princess or princesses. Ibsen showed that high tragedy did not take place at last as frequently in parols as in castles and palaces. He was, of course, not the first dramatist to attempt this, but he was the first to write a tragedy about ordinary people that proved a tremendous success. Ibsen's deep understanding of human character and human relationship, again, it's a kind of emphasis on the same point, but none of these technical contributions explains the continued life of Ibsen's plays on the stage today. Ibsen's enduring greatness as a dramatist is due not to his technical innovations, but to the depth and subtlety of his understanding of human character, especially feminine character, and which is rare of human relationship. The play has an appropriate title. The word doll means, of course, this is another point that we need to know, which is the title and its significance. To what extent the title Doll's House is suitable to the play? Is it related to the theme or not related? So the play, as we said, has an appropriate title. The word doll means a woman without any will or mind of her own, a passive and subservient woman. For 8 long years, Nora has been a passive and obedient wife to Helmer, always conforming to his ideas, opinions, and tastes. He has always treated her as a pet and as his property. His attitude towards her has always been possessive, as if she wholly belonged to him and had no individuality in her own. Ibsen called his play a modern tragedy. This is another point. Why do we call this play a modern tragedy? So modern and a tragedy. Why? Because he called this play a modern tragedy, and a modern tragedy it is surely is. It is a tragedy. Why? Because it has a sad ending. with Noura leaving not only her home and her husband, but even her children, in order to face an uncertain future. It is a tragedy because it depicts the breakup of a family and the disintegration of the domestic life of a couple. It is modern because it departs from the old style of writing tragedy. A Doll's House is the story of Noura and her husband Helmer. They have been married for about 9 years and have 3 children. 8 years ago, Noura had borrowed some money from a man called Krogstad against a promissory note on which she had forged signature of her father, who was supposed to be a surety for the repayment of the loan. Now, this is of course a brief summary of the whole story. You need to read it in case you want to remind yourself of the main points of the very brief summary of the story, of the main details of the main events of the story. So 8 years ago, Noura had borrowed, again this is the story, some money from a man called Krogstad against a promissory note on which she had forged signature of her father, who was supposed to be a surety for the repayment of the loan. Noura had found it absolutely necessary to obtain the loan, and of course you know why she wanted to borrow this money, and this is the reason why. Because her husband had fallen critically ill, and the doctors had advised her to take him away to a warm climate. This is of course the main reason. That's why we said that she did not take the money only for herself to buy something valuable or precious for herself, but she borrowed the money, as we said, in order to save her husband, who was critically ill, and the doctor, as we said, had advised her to take him to a warm place in order to save his life. Having no money at that time and desperately anxious to save her husband's life by taking him to Italy, she had raised this loan. Her husband had fully recovered. Since then, Noura has regularly been paying monthly installment to Krogstad against the principal amount and the interest occurring thereon. However, she has never told her husband about the loan, about the purpose for which the loan was taken, about the terms of the loan, and about the monthly payments she has been making. Helmer did not know anything about this money or about the loan, nor has she ever had any notion that in forging her father's signature she had committed a serious criminal act. Of course, Noura did not know that what she did is a criminal act. Noura, after 8 years, Krogstad needs Noura's help to save his job in a bank, of which Noura's husband has been appointed the manager. As Noura finds it impossible to help Krogstad, he reveals Noura's secret transaction with him and the fact of the forgery to her husband through a letter. Helmer becomes furious, of course, with his wife for having been guilty of the crime of forgery without even giving himself a chance to understand why she did. We notice that he did not even ask her why you did this, what's the reason for making you borrowing some money. He did not even give herself he did not even give Noura a chance to defend herself, but starting to be very furious, accusing her of being a criminal, a hypocrite, as we said. Noura is shocked by her husband's attitude, and of course she has the full right to be shocked and to be disappointed. She had thought that he was capable of making any conceivable sacrifice for her sake, but she finds that he is a self-centered man. She also finds that he is incapable of living up to the moral principles which he has always been professing loudly and emphatically. Her love for him drops dead, and she leaves him and also her children. This is, of course, as you know, that this was her final decision, to leave him, to leave her children. Why? Because her love for him drops dead. She did not love him any more, and for her, she cannot live with someone that she cannot, or she does not love. And of course, he becomes like a stranger to her. Now, reminding you of another important point about Helmer's reason for wanting to dismiss Krogstad, why he wanted to dismiss Krogstad out of the bank. Helmer and Krogstad had been greatly friends during their boyhood, but now Helmer holds Krogstad in contempt. In the first place, Krogstad had spoiled his reputation by an act of dishonesty for which he could have been prosecuted if the matter had gone to the court. This act of dishonesty in Krogstad's part was an act of forgery similar to that of Noura, but while Noura had forged a signature without realizing that it was something illegal and punishable with imprisonment, Krogstad had committed an act of forgery knowing fully well what he was doing. Helmer had come to know of Krogstad's act of dishonesty and had therefore formed a low opinion about his friend of old days. For this reason, Helmer has decided to dismiss Krogstad for his post in the bank, and now when Noura recommends Mrs. Lindy for a job, Helmer makes up his mind to appoint Mrs. Lindy to the post which would be vacated by Krogstad. But Helmer also has a second reason, which is to get rid of Krogstad. We find that Krogstad always speaks to Helmer in a familiar manner, addressing him by his Christian name, and behaving as if the friendship of their days of boyhood still exists between them. And Helmer does not want, of course, that a man in a subordinate position, and especially a man who had been guilty of a criminal act, should behave as if he were Helmer's equal. And now you need to remember that there are some important themes that we have in this play. The first important theme that we have is the sacrificial role of women, and we find that in A Doll's House, Ibsen paints a bleak picture of the sacrificial role held by women of all economic classes in his society. In general, the play's female characters exemplify Noura's assertion, spoken to Torvald in Act 3, that even though men refuse to sacrifice their integrity, hundreds of thousands of women have. Another important theme is the unreliability of appearance, that over the course of A Doll's House, appearance proved to be misleading veneers that mask the reality of the play's characters and situations. Then we have the symbols, the Christian tree, the Christmas tree, a festive object meant to serve a decorative purpose, symbolizes Noura's position in her household as a plaything who is pleasing to look at and adds charm to the home. There are several parallels drawn between Noura and the Christmas tree and the play. Then we have here New Year's Day. This is, of course, another symbol that we have. The action of the play is set at Christmas time, and Noura and Torvald both look forward to New Year's as the start of a new, happier phase in their lives. In the new year, Torvald will start his new job, and he anticipates with excitement the extra money and admiration the job will bring him. Noura also looks forward to Torvald, the new job, because she will finally be able to repay her secret debt to Krogstad by the end of the play. However, the nature of the new start that New Year's represents for Torvald and Nora has changed dramatically. This is the end of our last lecture. Hope you have enjoyed the course. Hope you have enjoyed the play that we already studied together, and hope I could meet you inshallah in other courses. All the best to all of you. Remember that the materials that you have are enough if you study them well. If you go through them well, definitely you will find your exam quite easy inshallah, and you will get high marks in it. All the best to all of you. Waiting for your comments, waiting for your participation, waiting for your point of views, either to send it to my mail, or you can contact me directly during my office hours on Saturday and Sunday, starting from 7 till 8:30 in the evening. Thank you very much. All the best to all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and see you inshallah in other courses. Assalamu alaikum.